So, I went on a tour to CBC. Why did I do this? To make content, of course. Now, this video is going to be a bit different in style, as it's just me, my voice, and a little bit of talking from here and to the camera from over there. Now, I decided to take a video of this on a different kind of camera than I'm using right now. The problem is that camera is not as high quality, and the sound quality isn't as good as it would be here in a room with my own microphone and a nice camera that I can just set up and do retakes all I want to. So I'm probably going to incorporate lots of different kinds of things into this just to make it as fluid and as entertaining as possible. Why I did this for post-production? Because I can and because I decided to. The first buildings I ended up going to was the CTE building, which is kind of like the engineering building, which has most of it's kind of like, it's got little structures and things, and it's got like these nice little bathrooms and all that, and it's very nice just for kind of going there for the classes, since all of them are either structured within a specific kind of building or a specific kind of just hall.
I don't even know what this is.
So on the campus, kind of like any good university, there are schools of different kinds of subjects. I believe 3 I'm going to be showing here. 3, 4-ish, a little bit of both, is going to be the engineering building, the world languages building, the science and mathematics building, and then the business building. There's a couple other buildings in there, but I'm going to separate those into a different video because I have a lot of anecdotes I can give on those ones. So moving on from the engineering building, which is kind of a bit more boring, we moved on to the world languages building, which is a bit more grandiose, so I'd say. It's probably the room that I'd spend not the most amount of time in for myself, but probably the most amount of time for my classes. Since out of all the in-person classes that I've taken over there, the world languages building is probably the one I've taken it most often, and simply just because besides language, it also takes history and I believe some other kinds of subjects in that area. So you take a history class over there, you take a language class, you take maybe a sociology class over there, I'm not sure. And a lot of it just requires lots of people in lots of different rooms. So I believe in the video I've shown lots of footage of kind of how it looks and how it's kind of structured. And I've gotten to show what a typical classroom looks like, which is just a box into these little seats and then a table across the row, which is how a typical classroom will look like. Now, while I'd like to say that this is the exception to the rule, it is pretty standard that they're all just kind of like boxes within little student classrooms, although they are very modernized with whiteboards and so and so. So it's a perfectly good place to learn. But when I think of a university, the kinds of rooms I think of are the massive ones, and therefore... Now this is a lecture hall. Yeah, these kind of rooms were a bit more centered for a large amount of audience with one person. So one professor doing a lot of speaking for a lot of the time, which made it look pretty cool. I think there's 2 of those kinds of classrooms in that building. And I believe there's a couple more sprinkled around campus, just for, why not? But they're very exceptional to the rule, and they're very entertaining to just walk around, I guess. But, you get to judge that for yourself when you see the video.
This is lots of empty space, lots of whiteboards to be teaching on. I don't really know what this class is used for, but it's a classroom, I think, or it's a lecture hall. It's some kind of room. The maximum occupancy in here is 80 people, so that must be a lot of chairs in here. I'm not going to count it myself to make sure, but this is what it is. It's a nice bit.
Now moving on, we have the Science and Mathematics building. This one is very nice, especially considering that there's a fish on the river. Not an actual fish, but it's just metal, I guess, gold. I can't remember. And there's the most studious room in the entire building, which is the greenhouse room, which is basically a giant little forest that's just inside the whole room. Now in here, the atmosphere is a lot warmer and it's a lot brighter in there. That's where most of the students go, just to kind of study and relax and look at the pretty plants as they unwind on life and how to get through all their classes. And it's got a little bench, and it's got like these books that you can go and read, and that's always very appreciated. Now onto this part of the video where I just started seeing that it was a bit more closer to the end line. So I decided that it would be best to just skip ahead. The footage I got for this kind of school of business was kind of shaky. It was mainly just a haul, run down, do all that, do what you gotta do, get as much footage, and also try not to record other people, because during all this you try to not record other people, because that's not a good thing. And when you're doing that, it's like, oh, look, there's a whiteboard. Look, accounting. Look where we saw that before.
So, how do we get around this pesky IRS looking for my money issue? Simple answer, don't make money.
And like I said before, there's other places on the campus, like the recreation center, but also the arts and music gallery, which is just that giant cinder block you get to see in the video. And there's also a planetarium, which I completely forgot to mention at all, that I'm just remembering now, because why not? Why would I? Why would I think about that? It's a planetarium. Even I've never been there. So that's something I'll have to look into later.
The secret meeting of the Ku Klux Klan has been here the whole time. Oh, jeez. That's a real gust of wind. Oh, even that won't work. Just a giant dark room. Creepy. Well, sadly, this is where I'm going to have to end the tour for today. Considering that it is almost the closing time and I will get kicked out and skinned alive. Hopefully this was somewhat enjoyable and something of what entertaining. And yeah, you can take it from here, editing. Good luck. That's your fault now, buddy.
Bruh, look at this dude.
Well, look who's the clown now.